everybody. Hello, Dallas, Texas, KW family from all over. So I am Koren Bowman, also known as Koren Underdew Bowman. I'm from Raleigh in Charlotte, North Carolina. I get to represent both markets. I like to tell folks I'm an agent first. I started my career actually on the other side of the business. 2003, I was working for a company called Wells Fargo, good old Wells Fargo. I would manage with them for many, many years. 2008, I actually brought my first investment property. And I was like, okay, this is why I actually came to North Carolina to invest in real estate and end up having some kids. I became mom. And as a mother, I was doing the stay at home and they were my priority. With that, I decided to get my real estate license in 2011, and I've been with Keller Williams ever since. I love the company that I am with, that I partner with, because it was literally a opportunity. It was an opportunity that I was able to step in and not even realizing how big the opportunity was. So I'm excited to share more about that. As an agent, I'm also in leadership. Leadership is something that's internal, right? So we're all leaders, no matter who we are, where we are, and a title doesn't make you a leader, by the way. In that, I was, I guess, showing up as a leader that I am. And I found myself in other opportunities where I served and ran committees on the ALC to DEI committees for the regional. So I am also the regional leader for North Carolina and South Carolina in regards to social equity. In addition to that, I am the operating principal of Concord Kannapolis, North Carolina, right outside Greater Charlotte. And yeah, that's about me.
There is so much to uncover there. And you had mentioned, leadership, and I, like you, completely agree. And I think it's interesting that at KW we use our ALC as almost like a launching pad, right, for leadership. Because I think, typically you're in the top 20, as far as production is concerned. And I think folks see you as the leader, even though many of us are a bit shy to step into that role. But I see so many, leaders in this company that all served in that capacity. So I think it's a beautiful thing we do. And it's not as time consuming as some think, because I've had some agents go, man, I just don't want to commit. It's a lot of time. And I'm like, no, it's not. I procrastinate that amount of time in a day than it takes to actually serve on ALC. So uh, I want you to jump right into I'd say, not if your four pillars, if it's four pillars of leadership, four pillars of uh, whatever it is, because I know that I don't want to delay from
No,
receiving the meat, because you
yeah.
got a message to deliver and I want to hear it.
No, let's get into it, right? One, why do we get into business, right? Why do we even say yes to go to real estate school, get our real estate license? And feel free to chat. Like, what are some of the reasons why you even got into the business?
Mhm.
I'd love to hear from some of you guys. Let's just be a little bit more interactive for a minute.
Got it. Well,
Why do
and
we get,
I'll
why do we
start,
get,
because for
yeah.
me, I had a builder that I worked for, and I thought, oh, this is interesting. I won't have to sit behind a desk all day, right? And I get to interact with people who have real money and influence, and that's what kind of led me into this crazy business.
I love it. I love it.
Monique says freedom. Okay,
Yes,
Monique.
yes, right. Freedom, flexibility,
Right.
entrepreneurship. Like these were the reasons why so many of us get into this business. And this is the one reason why I even chose Keller Williams out of all the firms that I interviewed with. And so when I stepped into it, I knew that I wanted more. I knew that this was an opportunity for me, but I wasn't really sure what the opportunity looked like, right? However, it was this thing called the Red Book, and it was an MREA. And a wise man just said, read the book, and not only read the book, master it. Right. So I end up reading this book probably almost every single year that I've been in business with Keller Williams. And I realized that there's just so much out there. And I start seeing so many people when I go to our family reunion conference, our mega agent camp, and I'm seeing the success across the stage and across the stage. I'm like, man, look at them doing it. How are they doing that? And then how could that be me? Because a lot of times we see folks so successful and we see as a part of that. And I wanted to step into the reason why I even got into the business. How do I anchor in that? How do I anchor in limitless income? Opportunities that I could never even imagine, having in a network that will take me so far. And I realized that the models and systems that we have here are the things that will take us to the places that we want to go. But a lot of times, we don't really know where we want to go. How often do I talk to an agent or a person and they can't even tell me what 5 years look like for them? And so I really had to get really clear with what was my purpose, my mission, my big why, and the vision that was in front of me. And I'm a believer, and so there's something called that God-seated vision for me. And sometimes the vision can get a little bit blurry. So what I decide to do is I anchor in. I anchor in with him and saying, okay, what's next? What am I looking to do? And what's the why behind it? And I realized that what he would see to me was pictures of where I am today. But then it was just a dream. And then it became a goal. But then I had to actualize the goal. And I love the models and systems that we have. And anybody who knows me, I'm a huge, huge component of the GPS. I will GPS any and everything that I possibly have. I don't care if it's a business, it's a committee. I do it on my own family. I have GPSs, guys, on my family. My husband and I see him on here. Hey, Marcus, I see you. We just became caregivers this past year. And literally, I did a whole GPS on my aunt. We took my aunt in and we had a 1 year GPS. So with that GPS, and is everybody familiar with the GPS, goals, priorities, strategies? One of the most powerful tools. And what it showed was, it was literally the roadmap to what I thought success would look like for me. And I realized that nobody else can define my success either. And when I looked at that roadmap, it was very clear that I had to know where I'm going. If you do not have a destination, how will you land there? You just won't. You just will not land. And so literally, I locked into the whole idea of doing a full GPS for my business, for my personal life. And it was understanding the one thing, the one goal that I wanted to accomplish, right? And this was something that was brought to me like, okay, this is what I want to do. This is how much, you know, it wasn't even how much money I wanted to make. It was how many families I wanted to impact, right? And from there, I'll start building out what are the strategies I'm going to do. Here's my top 5 strategies, what the priorities I'm going to focus on. But then it got deeper. We would do the GPS, but then what happens next? So we're only looking for the next 12 months. I realized for me, and this is just for me, I had to look further. I had to see my future self. Because constantly I'm in the game, I'm in there, I'm making sense of it, I'm understanding what my goals are, but why am I really doing this? So my vision piece was not just where I saw myself in 1 year, what I want to accomplish, but what I want to accomplish in 3 years. What were those things I want to accomplish in 5 years? What would that look like for me? And sometimes it was something that was scary that then it didn't even make sense. I remember sharing it with people. They were like, girl, you crazy. So, and it was funny, I'm going to backtrack a little bit here. When we start talking about vision, understanding that, but it goes back to understanding your mission. And that starts with your big why. So when I got into the business in 2011, I remember my first year, I worked really hard my first year. I went to family reunion, 2 months in the game. I was in bold, 6 months into the game. I was ignite right away. I'm doing everything that the book says to do. Mm-hmm. And I'm not necessarily seeing the traction that I wanted because most first-time agents, their big goal is usually what? They want to make 100,000 their first,
100,000. Yeah. They
right?
must be in real estate school, I guess. Oh, 100,000.
Right. I want to make 100,000 the first 12 months. And I'm like, that was my goal. And that was a great goal. But the reality is I didn't make 100,000. I just didn't. And I remember I ran into an agent, and the agent basically looked at me and she said, I heard about you. So they were talking about me in the streets. I heard about you. People told me to watch out for you. How many transactions did you do? I said two. And she laughed at me. I said, did she just laugh at my two? And I was about to have my third one, even close to my third transaction. That first year, I had three transactions. So there's somebody that's out there that only had two or three transactions. Don't give up in the game, right? Do not give up, because that's just a start, because it takes one to get to the many. You got to do the first one first. And she laughed. And then I had to kind of check myself. Is she laughing because she feels that I'm unsuccessful? And I realized that I'm doing the work that they're telling me to do. I'm following the models, I'm following the systems. But when I realized is that they were not my competition is actually me. So now I have to figure out what that looks like. And I cannot get caught up in the noise. And a lot of times as agents, we get caught up in the noise where everybody is saying what they're doing, what that looks like. And I just stay consistent and persistent. And so in that, I'm doing those things, but then life happens. And when life happens, what happens? We take, not sometimes I'm at three steps back. We just halt. We sit down somewhere. We hang it up. We're not working. We're not giving our best selves. And life happened for me. And when life happened, it was my reality check. And then I had to get myself out of it. And when I got myself out of it, I had to understand what my big why was. And my big why at the end of the day, and I'm not going to make a long story long, I want to keep it really short. I end up losing my husband suddenly to a heart attack in 2014. I just hit a little bit over 2 years in the business. And I realized at that time I didn't have the money. I did not have the money to care the way that I wanted to continue to care for my kids the way that I wanted to. I've built a business. I'm now not just doing three transactions. I'm doing about nine now, right? I did nine that previous year. But that was not enough to cover a household. That was not enough to keep mortgage paid, to keep the bill collectors out. It was not enough to keep food on the table. It was just not enough. And I had to literally get out of my own funk and realize that I have a why that I have to anchor in really, really, really big in a mighty way. And my why became my children. And it wasn't to just make sure that they were good, but to create an opportunity, a journey, a life that no matter what happens in the moment, everyone will be okay. Spiritually, emotionally, physically, and financially. And that financial part and that even the emotional part, really, I got from my Keller Williams family. I was anchoring into our bold principles. I was anchoring into the books. I was anchoring into the culture of who we are as Keller Williams and the mindset, that strong mindset that we need as business owners, but more so just as people, allowed me to really just understand my big why. So now I'm understanding my big why. I have a really huge mission. And the mission now is to impact not just my children's life, but my children's to the community that I serve. Because I had a community that was uplifting, praying for me, upholding me when they didn't have to. So now I have to give back to them. And what tool did I have? I had probably one of the greatest tools, and it was real estate. And I use real estate to help leverage the opportunity to give real impact, create real wins and success strategies to achieve goals that I can only imagine. And then from there, my business began to take off. Why? Because I was anchored into my big why, and I had this mission, but the vision wasn't really as clear as I needed. Now we're going back to that vision part. I had to anchor in the vision. Where do I want to be? Not just 1 year, 3 years, 5 years. And in that, I remember I wrote it down. This is back in 2017. I just got married. I married my amazing husband,
Thanks for
friend,
joining us, Marcus.
partner. And at the time, he was my lender. So thank God for real estate. And when I married him, we didn't go on a honeymoon. What we did 2 weeks after wedding, we went to National Harbor right there in Maryland, Washington, D.C. area. And we stayed in a hotel because it was cold that weekend. It was Martin Luther King weekend. And in that weekend, that's when I became free. We did our GPS for that year because we were behind because I was so caught up getting married, got behind on my GPS. And then we did our vision goals for 1 year, 3 years, and 5 years, where I wanted to be personally, professionally, and financially. In that, I said that I would love in 3 years, let me backtrack. First year, I wanted to actually start reinvesting back into real estate because that's something I did before early on. And I had stopped when life had stopped. And I got rid of all my properties. So now I said, I want to reinvest, get back into that. I want to buy just my first investment property. Thereafter that, what I would like to do is buy investment property every year. So for my birthday, I don't need the Louis, I don't need the Gucci's, I don't need all that stuff. What I would like is a vacation, an opportunity to spend with my family, because these are memories that can never be taken from you. I tell you guys now, we can work hard, but there's an opportunity to play harder, and it's to play with your loved ones. Is it create experiences worth having that nobody can never take from you? So I want my vacation, and I want to go ahead and invest in real estate because real estate is the catalyst of what? Building wealth. And as I do that, I can now educate others to do that.
Amen.
So that was year one. Year three, I said, let's go ahead. And how cool is it? We're investors. What if we can invest in a market center? I put this on in GPS. And then by year 5, I would love to be an operating principal of a market center. And these are outlandish goals. And I was bold enough to share my goal one time with somebody who probably did not deserve to hear my goal. And I'll be very honest. And when I told them that, they said, can I be honest with you guys? Is that okay?
All day.
Said, yeah, no, that will never happen. Like, you are a great person. You are a leader. You're successful. But that will never happen. It is not because you're not worthy of it, because it was the color of my skin. That's what somebody told me.
All day.
I said, I cannot believe that somebody actually said that. And this is now 2018. And here's the thing, guys. I actually was able to accomplish all those goals within 3 years. Not even 5, within 3 years. So I say, when you understand your vision, get really clear with it, anchor in it, and don't let nobody steer you away. Because people will doubt, and it's not because they don't believe in you. It's not because they don't want you to win. Because sometimes people fear success when it looks different from what they know. And so just anchor in that. So that's number one. Your vision is going to be the one thing that's going to carry you all the way, but get really clear. But then once you understand your vision, number two, you want to really develop the skill set. Skill is everything, guys. We take it for granted. Everybody says they're a realtor. That's all great. But have you really mastered the role? Have you mastered the opportunity that's in front of you? So when I look at success is not necessarily about somebody who just won something, right? It's a journey. Success is actually built in many, many, many failures. It's built up with so many failures along, at least for me, that has been my success journey, is that I have literally had to fail my way. But what got me through that is the skill set and the mastery. It's continuing to learn. Somebody said to me, if you want to do something really great and you want to really succeed and be successful in it, go master it. Go master it. And I remember there was a time I just wanted to like master listings because they also said if you want to create real market share in your business, you need to go ahead and have listings. You need to be a mean listing machine, right? And I wanted to master listings. So you know what I did? I literally started teaching all the Ignite classes around sellers. If you want to master listings, go teach an Ignite class. You don't have to be a top agent. You don't have to be an ALC. You go, just go teach it. Because when you start teaching it, you start learning a little bit differently because now you're holding yourself accountable to the people that you're pouring into. And you're making sure you're raising your knowledge lid. And that was key for me, right? So we talked about vision, and we talked about skill, but then mastery, mastering it, right? Applying it. We could be in education mode, but make sure it's applied application, all right? And then from there, it's the grit and the perseverance. And this is where we sometimes get lost in. I'll be very honest. I speak with a lot of agents on a day-to-day and coach them in their business. And it's the grit and the perseverance that sometimes lose us because we get caught up. We get caught up in the no's, we get caught up in the objections, we get caught up in life. We easily get sidetracked. We lose focus. We lose focus is most important. The moment it gets hard, you say, I'm just going to take a break. That's when you stay in it. The moment when things start getting hard, that's when you really start to grind because that's what's going to create real movement in any and all things. And this is not just real estate. This is just life. It's just life, like constantly. So for me, it was constantly, how do I develop the grit and the perseverance during times when I didn't even want to wake up? During times when I just wanted to have that lazy couch day and I want to kick my feet up, put on that blanket and throw on that what's that Netflix? What they call it? The next chill. I don't know what they call it. Netflix chill. What they call it? I don't know. But that's literally what there's so many times we just like it's enough. Or, we just got that really bad deal and it put a bad taste in our mouth. Right? I'm not the only one that's been there. Or it's just they say go door knocking. We door knocked 100 homes. I only got one person to open door, and then the person was rude. I'm not going to door knock again. Right? I called my folks. I called, people in my database, and I got nothing. They didn't return my phone call. So that just doesn't work. And what happens a lot of times, we just give up. That's why now in a shifting market, our market we went through a great shift, right? With the pandemic, post-pandemic, and I'm seeing agents constantly, literally with this rotation door, just getting out of the business, just getting out. They're like, why? Because, it's hard. They're not making no money. They go to the full-time job, right? They go get this job that is a guaranteed paycheck. And they leave the business. They work so hard to go through school to get their license. They were so gun-ho, I'm going to do this. I'm going to build this big business and I'm going to have all these big checks because they thought it was HGTV, and then they check out because times is tough. And I'm like, guys, when people think that this is a market that people are leaving, they've missed it. This is a market of opportunity. Because the reality is people are going to leave,
Amen.
but it should be you.
Amen.
This is a time when you get the opportunity to literally make sure you are doing everything that you need to do to build, to grow in even the toughest markets, and you will shine. And then last but not least, because I realized time is going. You didn't tell me, Ben.
I told you it just moves just like that. See, again, when you drop in knowledge, man, it just hits like that. So
Yeah.
keep going.
Right. And I'll leave this with you. The last one is just people. We are in a relationship business. At the end of the day, we are in a relationship business. So relationships do matter. People do matter. Guys, We cannot do this by ourselves. Even if you're an individual agent, if you have a team, if you're in leadership, we need each other to rise. And when I say we need each other, not just within our industry, our community, they need us and we need them. We
Okay.
are literally in a relationship-based business. So if you understand, again, I'm just going to highlight four pillars that I think will outlast anything, anybody, any business. Vision, skill and mastery, grit and perseverance, and last but not least, people and relationships.
All day. You you dropped the meat this week. Like, I wasn't surprised because that's what I expected from you. And when you were wanting to have your Netflix moment, what I thought of was, thank goodness you had a Marcus, and you had a KW family, and you had a real estate family, and you had a community that lifted you up, right? Didn't
Yeah.
allow you to go wallow in the mud and stay there too long, right? I
Yeah.
think we're so fortunate and so blessed that relationships, community, because I know basically everybody on this call and those who couldn't even make it today, and they help keep me lifted and elevated, and I'm so thankful for it. And I'm so appreciative of you guys. And believe it or not, we still have a few minutes. So what I want to know now, because I know that wealth building through real estate in your community is so important to you, like it is to so many of us. Um, you and Marcus, Pastor Marcus, developed this investment company. Currently, how many properties do you have, and do you host any programs, first time buyer, sellers, investment, in anything like that?
Yes, definitely. So we have our investment company, and so we hold anywhere from single family. We do Airbnbs. We focus primarily on hold and Airbnbs, and we've also been doing a lot of flips as well, right? So we have a combination, and we're now getting into the commercial space. Wealth building has been a huge, huge piece for us. So one of the things that we started, do you remember I was talking about in success is skill and mastery? So we've actually taken the MREI, Millionaire Real Estate Investor book, and one, I started gifting it to my clients, right? But now we're doing our deals, and we said, let's create this class. So I've created a class, and it's a workshop that we do for actually agents, and we do it for our community. So we have two versions of it. And in that, we teach them how to invest in real estate using the fundamentals and the models from MREI. We take them through real case studies, and we give them the success strategies on doing it from the very beginning, and whether they're a first-time home buyer to they're ready to actually jump in the investment property. I always tell people first off, any home that you buy is your investment property. Because if we understand real estate, it is an asset. It
Mhm.
is a asset product. And it's one of the strongest assets, believe it or not. No matter what anybody's saying, when you look at long-term longevity, we are the strongest asset class. And so with that, we have our consumers, our clients understand that from day one. I always say the easiest way to invest is go buy a property, live in it for a couple of years,
Absolutely.
and then go buy something else and not even sell it. So I'm the agent that's telling my community, my clients, not to even sell their property if they don't have to. Now, if you need to sell it, that's okay.
Right.
Right. So me and Marcus, we just actually sold a few properties now because we're getting to other business ventures and other things. And that we sold some properties just because of that. So you have that opportunity, and that's what it leverages you. But now if you can teach your client that, how cool is it? And actually it's right there. If somebody says, well, how do I even teach my client? Go read the MREI, study it, master it, and then take those principles and share with your community. But more importantly, make sure that you're applying it yourself.
All day. And I think giving it as a gift is an amazing gift. And they don't even know initially how valuable it is until they open the cover and start to read. And now all of a sudden they're like, I can't believe she gave me this amazing gift, because it's truly that. So Thank you again. Thank you again for sharing. Guys, I appreciate you each and every week, those who make the time to jump on, because again, you have learned a lot, and you've uncovered, the four principles that have led to this success. And I think it was so powerful that through Bold and the GPS, that again, you put out that 1 year, that 3 year, that 5 year, goal. And Gary has said it, and I know it's been said by others, that you know what, we can, we overestimate and underestimate what we can do in 5 years, right?
Mhm.
It could be completely different. We won't even recognize what the next 5 years looks like if we put together a plan and a GPS. And I think that we also have the right, yeah, members on the bus in our community, and our spouses all supporting us and lifting us up. Sky's the limit. Sky's the limit. And my
That's
friend,
it.
I appreciate you. I appreciate you so much. Guys, I appreciate you guys for chiming in each and every week. Again, we bring the meat, and she brought it today. She brought it today, but that didn't surprise me at all. So, any final word before we go?
Guys, today is now. It's right now. What are you doing right now in your business to take you to the next level? What are you doing right now to get you to your next level of where you want to be at? What are the strategies? I say to everybody is, if anything that you take from today is that this is the first day of Q4. We all had goals in 2024. And some of us may be meeting our goals, exceeding our goals, and some we're not even there. And it's okay. It is okay, because whatever happened in the past has already happened. It's what we do now. And so what I challenge you to do is just go back and reflect on those goals, adopt it, because right now Q4 is actually 2025.
Amen.
Start working on that and figuring out what are the things that you could do right now to help bridge that gap. And you could still have time. Please know you still have time. Fourth quarter has been some of my best quarters.
Wow.
Actually, usually is one of my best quarters every year. So blessings to all of you, and let's go rock it out.